hopefully you've tried out some artist pencils, or at least you've tried whatever you have on hand and played around with texture and how deep and light you can go with your shading. So now we're going to apply this cool shading to a contour drawing and turn it into something that should look really three-dimensional. Now, because we've sketched out some shapes, you know, some orbs and some triangles and pyramids and stuff, and added sort of shading and light source, that kind of trains your brain how to see also, and how to understand what all these little shapes in your objects are and how they're coming, or where they're coming from. We're gonna kind of continue this. Hopefully you still got a contour drawing that you haven't tried adding shading to yet. I'm gonna use an existing contour drawing. If you haven't tried this already, look at one of the previous videos about seeing, how to see the object, how to see your subject. Let's get to work. We're using drawing pencil sets to get more depth and range of value. Now, value is a range of grays, simply put, light to dark. Shading is what we're using these values in specific places on our contour drawing to create three-dimensional depth to our now flat sketch. The contour drawing, now these sketches outline, like a map, all of the shapes of an object or subject created by light and texture. To bring this contour drawing depth, we're shading within the outlines. It's kind of like a coloring book drawing, but with pencils. So I'm shading within the outlines drawn, always using the reference image to continually guide me. So I know what the shade of each outline represents and each mark represents. We keep our reference photo on hand to draw along with. I find that I tend to use the same array of pencils, 4H, 2H, 4B, or 6 or 8B, depending on my project. I tend to shade light to dark for 3 reasons. 1, I love seeing my vision build slowly. And 2, if there are mistakes, I'll see them in process as I'm drawing. It's easier to erase light pencil work. So the H pencils are light, and as long as you don't add a lot of pressure, you're not indenting the page, and it's easier to erase that. And 3, smudging. The soft, dark B pencils smudge more, and they're a little more work to erase. When erasing, swiping your hand over the drawing to clean off eraser mess could smudge it. Find a wispy brush like a blush brush, or you want to use a brush with light bendy bristles so it's less likely to smudge your art. The one here is a mottler brush, a flat mottler brush. I'm starting to shade with my 2B. Unfortunately, the light H pencil isn't terribly visible. You can't see it. I love my kneadable eraser. This one is a bit softer than I prefer. It'll stay in the shape you need when adding pressure during erasing if it's a bit firmer. You need it. You basically sculpt it into the size you need to erase small parts of your work. It's a fabulous little tool. So first I use my 2H to shade the lightest values, not white. And now I'm into mid-tones, not light, not the darkest, but kind of the mid-tones. You keep your reference picture alongside so that you can continue to correct along the way. You'll see your objects, your shapes, you'll see the whole thing as a whole differently as you draw, and you keep developing it and forming it as you shade. If you're finding this helpful, please subscribe and give me some love with a like. Share with anyone else who you know wants to learn to draw. And please ask me any questions. Let me know what you want next as well. Happy to help and work with you. I always have a clean sheet of paper to rest my drawing hand on. Some artists draw with their hand off the page like a painter. Most of us won't gain the control we need in that way, so this printer paper works great. the smudges generally land on it instead of on the art. And I'm moving to a 6B, much darker now, following both the reference and shading within the contour lines still. The mug has texture, it's shiny, it's also porous, so I'm attempting to match this. I used to be so eager to see the finished drawing, I stopped enjoying the process. All the little decisions and pencil strokes you get to make, those are your gems. So please enjoy the, in the moment. Please try and stay in the moment and enjoy the process. There are different ways that you can stay in the moment while drawing. Playing your favorite tunes is a good one. If you need quiet, well, not everybody gets that, do they, when they live in a busy household? But you can concentrate on the sounds around you and try and find some joy in them. Simply for me, it's listening to the sound of the pencil on the paper. It's kind of a cool scratching sound. When it's paint, it's or markers. Sadly, the smell of the markers. There's a sense of home for me there because it's my happy place. So try and listen to your other senses, or pay attention to your other senses. Hear the sounds around you and pay attention to how you feel. How does your body feel? You a little achy, a little tired? Got some good energy? You're vibing with this? If you're working on one of your first drawings or the first drawing, the end product is not the most important part of this. It really is being in the moment and taking in the lessons, because everything you learn now you can bring into the next work and the next work and the next work. So 6B gives us the darker shade and heavier texture. H pencil is lighter and softer. So often near the end of my drawing, I will kind of sketch over the darkest areas with my H to kind of soften the texture where it needs to be softened and leave it rougher where it needs to be rougher. White highlights add so much extra, especially if you're drawing on colored paper. The thinner markers do need cleaning. The paint picks up the lead and it gets kind of gunky, so you can use the paper that you're using to protect your drawing from your smudging to kind of rub it off on. I also wet my fingertips and clean it off on my hands. So I get a few nice clean white lines from it after that. Please preserve your work, even if you're not sure it's worth it. I spray crystal clear. It keeps paper from yellowing and your drawing from smudging, especially if it's in a drawing book. And keep your work, sign it, and date it. You can use it to measure your growth and development. Next, drawing materials. So much variety, so much great stuff. We live in a candy store and you'll see why.